So the Prophet Muhammad, he gives a very powerful example here, peace be upon him, that a man came up to him and said,
"You guys on camera, by the way, is that okay?"
Yeah,
they're filming it. Yeah. Can I film as well?
Yes, fine.
Okay. Make sure you give the mic to the people.
Sure, sure. So,
Okay, yeah.
okay, so the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, a young man came up to him, and you know, young man, they have urges and stuff, and he said to him, "Allow me to commit fornication," meaning sex outside marriage. He just wanted to be with a girl. And the Prophet said to him, "Would you like someone to do that with your mother? Would you like somebody to do that for your mother?" And the man said, "Of course not." He said, "Would you like someone to do that with your sister?" And the man said, "Of course not." "Would you like someone to do that to your daughter?" He said, "No, I wouldn't." So he said, the people want for themselves what you want. Meaning, have empathy. That is someone else's daughter. And if you look, T.I., he's an example of this, but in a very hypocritical way. He cares about his daughter, but he doesn't care about other people's daughters. So I'm talking about that toxic culture we have, and it's not just rap videos, it's all music videos. Whether it's trance, garage, I mean, I'm a bit out of date, but all these types of things, they all teach this hedonistic lifestyle, which breaks down society. Because what does it teach us? It teaches us, use women. It doesn't make us think about marriage from a long-term perspective, and even in they commit affairs. And there's statistics to show that the amount of partners you have before marriage correlates with the chances of you having an affair after marriage. Yeah? So this breaks down society, and for me, this is Satan moving us away from God. This is the way I like to think about it. I just want your thoughts on this. These are my thoughts. What's your thoughts on this?
I agree with what you're saying. I do agree with what you're saying. I'm not disputing anything of what you just said and so forth. I wouldn't say that it's just a select few. I wouldn't say it's everywhere and so forth. There's messages, I mean, even in all kinds of religions and so forth, we've got people who are going to basically give the message what you're giving out and so forth, and then you're going to have people within the same religion who has a different outlook on it and so forth, whatever. Unfortunately, that's the kind of world that we live in as well. So it's what we take from what you're getting from whatever teachings and so forth, and if it's your truth, you're living by that.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. I would also add that without God, without us following God's guidance, we can't as a society move away from these types of things. Because if you look at these industries, they're very, very strong. They're very, very strong. Now, if you go look at billboards or these types of things, they have all these types of messages everywhere. From a young age, we've been indoctrinated. And what we're taught today is the Nike slogan, which is just do it. Now, just do it, it looks like a harmless symbol, but it's not. It's basically telling you, do what you feel.
You say that's just how you interpret it, because some people can interpret it differently.
What I would say is generally capitalism, generally the marketing machine, including Nike, including others, the main message is to do what you feel, do what you desire. And this is the opposite of what God's message to humanity is. God's message is do the right thing, not just do what you want. And that's where I see the conflict between God's message and the message that we have in contemporary society today.
Can I ask you a question?
Let me just complete the conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I do.
And would you say you yourself, you're religious in any way?
I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I have an open mind. I'm open to hear and learn.
Okay.
So I don't have one standpoint, it's this way and that way. I could easily close, like many people, they can easily close themselves off. But I do believe you get to a point in your life where you want to seek truth.
Yeah.
Whatever that truth is, whether that truth is way of life or so forth, whatever, you are going to seek some kind of truth to a point of meaning of your own life as well. So I guess in part of the time of my life now, it's just a case of listening, see what makes sense, see what essence I get from what I learn. Is it my truth? Is it the truth? So, I mean, it's okay, having the truth, what many will follow and so forth, but start within you first before you can actually project what you believe in and so forth. So
That's a very good way of thinking about it. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
my name's Colossus.
Huh?
Colossus.
Colossus, nice name. My name is Sabur. So Colossus, you said something which I want to pick up on. You said there's a point in your life where you start thinking about this. That's something I agree with, so elaborate on that. Is it that you get older and these questions become more important?
You do get wiser. You get wiser. From experience, everyone has their own experiences. So whatever experiences that you experience in life, you get to a point, whatever you believed in before or your way of life, sometimes that experience might have put you in a position where your health is being questioned, or basically just the way you're living is, or you're hurting other people. So you do get to that point where you want to question yourself on whatever has happened before. You've looked at it and you're thinking, hold on a minute, I may have, 10 years ago, I may have handled that differently. Yeah. Today I'm handling it this way and so forth. Okay, what is it I'm learning just from that experience? So we want to take that further.
I like the way that you put that. And would you say that the question of the meaning of life or why we are here, that also becomes more important as we get older?
Oh, definitely. I believe there's a reason for everything. I don't believe that it's just a case of nothingness.
It's a case of?
Nothingness. There's a purpose for something. Whatever that purpose is. Whether it's, as we're living beings, obviously we want to have that essence in our life. What is it that's going to motivate you in the morning? What's it going to motivate you throughout the day? What's going to motivate you? Are you going to be satisfied by the time you go to your bed? Are you satisfied with how you lived throughout your day? What message have you projected out there, whether to the world, the universe, however you see it? What is it that what teachings are you giving to your family, your friends, and so forth? How are you living? You have children. How are they seeing it, and so forth? And that's how why I say you get to a point. I do see life is an adventure. You've got to embrace it. So what is it that you want to get from that adventure?
I think that's a really good way of putting it. And I would add to that when it comes to God, that's also something that I would say as we get older, we start to reconsider our relationship. What do you say to that?
I can understand that, definitely. Depending on the individual as well, definitely. You are going to, especially if you believe in the God in the first place and you want a relationship, then of course you are going to go and you are going to seek what is going to make what I believe logical sense. Yeah. Or just a sense in general, because some people, everyone's, we all speak a different voice. Everyone's voice is unique. That's what makes us human beings so unique in general. We're all individuals. So you are going to seek, like I said earlier, you're going to seek your truth, whatever that case is, whatever that purpose is. You are going to seek it, and you are going to look at. And I feel you have to be open-minded in order to get to that conclusion.
Absolutely.
Just because someone has said this is the way to live, this is how it is, and so forth.
Question it.
Question, 100%.
Yeah. 100%. And this is one of the things in the Quran that God says, think, reflect, question, ponder. Don't just blindly accept. And one of the messages of the Quran is don't follow your ancestors. Follow the truth. Don't follow desire. Follow the truth. Why? Because in life, we fall into two traps. We either do what we like or we do what other people are doing. Our ancestors, our society. The Quran says don't do both. Follow what is the truth and use your reason to come to it. Now about your relationship with God, would you say that you believe in God or you are unsure about God? Where do you lie when it comes to God's existence?
I've been on a journey which is a bit of both.
Evolved.
it's definitely one where I questioned for many years. And then there's certain things that, again, through experience, you question things. So it's more a case of, okay, I've closed my mind off to the experiences that you've gone through. You get to a point where you think, okay, I may have closed my mind off to certain things, but because this particular thing has happened, maybe I need to question it. Maybe I need to question why I responded that way. Maybe I need to question why it happened that way. Was this a miracle? Was this divine intervention? Was this, case of luck and so forth? So I believe sometimes people, you know, come, a part of their life, they get to a point where they're like, let me question that. Let me understand why that happened. And I think that's where your journey can begin.
I think that's a journey which a lot of people go through. They start questioning, and it's interesting that you start reflecting. Okay, was this God intervening in my life to give me a reminder, or was this chance? Would you say that the death of a close member of your family, or someone having cancer, or these types of events, would you say they trigger these thoughts as well more?
They can do. They can do. I know people who wouldn't think that way, but again, that's down to people's experiences as well. And those experiences, despite what anybody believes, and so your experience is your experience. Whatever you get from that experience, it's going to reflect, and you are going to reflect. Some don't think in the way of, oh, it may have been God. Some think, oh, it's just one of those things that happen. But I'm one of those who believes, okay, why did it happen? You know, is there logic behind that? What is behind that? What is the reason why that happened? So again, I'm open-minded. I'm optimistic and I'm open-minded. You know, I believe there are answers.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you can get experiences. You think to yourself, is there an explanation for it? You know, can that explanation be, or can that experience, can it be explained?
Yeah.
Is there an actual answer for what actually just happened?
Yeah.
As well, and
these are related to the heart. I would say a lot of this is not about logic. It's about what God says in the Quran is, whoever comes to God with a sound heart will be saved. A sound heart. So having a connection with God, we can decipher what is God's intervention in our life. What does God want from us? And one of the messages of the Quran is, God is closer to us than our jugular veins, right? Even though God is above everything, God is closer to us than our jugular veins, meaning if we remember God, God remembers us. If we try to connect with God, God connects with us. And there's a proverb that, you know, if you feel you're distant from God, it's you who moved, not God. So a lot of these things, Islam, it teaches us through connecting with God, through prayer, we can make sense of what's happening to us in our life. So you yourself, do you ever pray to God? Do you ever ask for guidance?
recently,
Okay.
So, and again, from experience, again, we experience things in our daily lives. And my questioned quite a few things. And a few things made me think maybe there's more to what I originally thought was in the first place. So again, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And it's embracing that journey.
Yeah.
As well. Some people are brave enough to embrace, and some people might put their head in the sand and be like, it's one of those things. I don't believe I'm one of those people. I believe that, okay, because of experience, so it's a case of, you know what, I want to look into this.
Sure. And you know, I want to recommend Malcolm X's biography, because he used to ask for guidance before he became Muslim. And his journey is a journey which is not just logical but spiritual as well. Because he didn't come from a Muslim background, he came from a Christian background. And his journey towards faith is something which is a lesson for a lot of people. I mean, a few years ago I was looking, somebody was telling me that there's a massive number of people who accepted Islam because of him, even though he died in his 40s, but they were inspired by his story and they read his book. So I would recommend you read his biography, because you've got it, yeah?
I have read it, yeah. I know I've got a copy of it.
What were your thoughts on it?
It was an interesting journey, very interesting journey. Again, like I said, people are unique. You know, it's an interesting journey, and a lot of people can be inspired by that. A lot of people can be inspired, but also people have their own lives. They're going to also be inspired and go from their experience, their existence, and go from there as well. That is just part of someone's journey as well. You know? So as much as we can be inspired by his journey and his relationship with God, you know, also, I mean, that's from the outside looking in, but you've got to look at your own self as well.
Yeah.
What have I learned from that? Okay, can I relate to that? Some can, some might not. But everyone's journey is everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you know, you're right about the sort of, because his journey is unique, everyone's journey is unique, but one common factor is asking for guidance. Because ultimately, in our life is just as crazy as Speaker's Corner is here. When you're new to the place, you don't know what's what. Life is kind of like that. We're kind of like walking around in a maze. We don't know what decisions to make in our lives. But it's God's guidance, and by praying to God, that life starts to make more sense to us.
I agree. Again, down to experience.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. So I really enjoyed my conversation with you. I'm going to give you a little booklet about Islam. You can read it further. And the thing about Islam is, look, Islam says the purpose of life is to worship God. It's a very simple thing. What does worship mean? It means you love, hope, fear, trust, everything's in God. And everything we do in our life ultimately is for God's pleasure. And we believe as Muslims, the only way to be truly happy is by making God happy. Then you will have peace and happiness. And one of the things that Malcolm X also speaks about is inner peace. Yeah? And inner peace, we believe, cannot be made until the human being is at peace with God. And how are you at peace with God? By submitting to God. And submission to God is what Islam is. You know, when you look at religion, Hinduism is from the Indus Valley region, India. Christianity goes back to a particular person, Christ. Judaism goes back to a race. Islam simply means submission. And we believe Jesus, Moses, all these prophets, they submitted to God. And the message of Islam is not rocket science. And we believe it's more experiential than people think. People think it's all about believe in my book. Why? Because I'm telling you to. But Islam says, ask for guidance, try to make a connection with God, and you will see the truth for yourself. So I want to give you a booklet, and any more questions, I'll give you my number. You can also ask me. Yeah? Any last message you want to give to, while I bring out the book? Any last message to...
Last message? No, really, no. No, just enjoy the conversation.
The Holy Spirit is worship. The Son is to be worshipped. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish from the way when his wrath is kindled.
Salam. How are you, man?
Good to see you in flesh.
Yes, you too, man. How you doing? You okay? You good? So here's some booklets. You can share them with Andre here. He's your son? Oh, wow. Wow, I thought you guys were just mates.
No, it's my son, my eldest son.
Wow. So you're what, 20?
21, yeah.
Wow. So you must be at least 40.
Yeah, 47.
That's really surprising. Just a few grey hairs, but if it wasn't for that, I would say late 20s.
That's right. Life's good, man. Life's good.